This way we went down to Wellington. I said where they had that dinner. So it was down this area somewhere. Even some of the photos that he sent back from when they were. Good morning. My name is Tony Marchione, younger brother of John and Robert. John was born on 17th of July 1930, and Bob was born on the 1st of April 1932. Yeah, John was 3 months ahead of Bob, and John celebrated on his way over. He celebrated his 20th birthday on the ship.
On the ship, so when he was coming back?
Yeah, on his way over. And I've got one son, he's just come back, and that was John. Bob's somewhere over in Korea. Now, you'll have to wait until you're 20, I think it was, and if you still want to go at 20, that's up to you. I was about 18 then. So that's when I left the post office and I joined the railway. And he came back and stayed in the Navy and ended up at not Wairua military camp, but the Navy camp. And he served his time there, and he finished up and moved to South Island, yeah. John passed away last year, late last year, at 93. So it was on the evening of the 25th in morning, August the 26th, 1951. A number of New Zealand sailors from HMS Rotoiti and the Royal Marine Commandos of HMS Ceylon, who had trained together, joined forces in a daring raid behind enemy lines near Sogonai. Raids before, and Bob was not permitted, though he trained with the group of 27 of them. The captain wouldn't let him take part in any of those raids because he considered that he was too young. Midnight, the raiders climbed into two boats from Rotoiti and set off to the shoreline. Crossing the beach, they scaled a 70-foot high cliff, and over unfamiliar ground which was interlaced with trenches and high grass. They crawled through this as they got on top of the cliff towards the outpost, and they could see two North Koreans looking out to sea, and they were behind them, their backs to the raiders, looking out to sea. And then all of a sudden they were challenged. Someone called out, one of the Koreans called out. And Bob stood up to throw a hand grenade, and it was return fire came back, and he was shot in the chest and mortally wounded. They were told that they were not to stay there if they were challenged, they were to get out of it. So they took off again to go back the way they came, back to the cliff. Two went one way. Scholes had Bob, and he rolled him over the cliff, followed him down, took him along the beach, and hurriedly covered him the best way he could as they were being pursued by the enemy. And eventually they got back to the ship. So from that was the last point of his body being there. From there we don't know. Brian Turner, the captain of the Rotorua, told me that he said himself that Bob was one of the greatest seaman boys that he'd ever had, he said. He was also Royal New Zealand's Navy only fatal battle casualty of the Korean War. Now, Turner wanted to mount a landing in daylight to recover his body, but he was refused permission. And we understand that they weren't going to put the whole ship's company at life on the line to go back and try and find Bob and bring him back to the ship. So in the morning, after the raid, a funeral service was held on the Rotorua. They held a funeral service for Bob. Copy of the last letter that Bob wrote to Mum and Dad, and it's dated the 16th of August 1951. That's when Mum and Dad received it. They received it, well, the date, it was dated the 16th of August 51, so it was before Bob was killed. He always started his letters with my dear mother and father, or in this case was dear mother and dad. And when he was looking forward to coming home and telling John, who was already been discharged out of the Navy, to stop going round and seeing Bob's girl, but Bob was engaged before he went.
I guess what is the dearest memory that you have with him? Something that you want to share with us?
One of the couple of fond memories when he would come home on leave from the Navy, and he always wanted, because we boxed at school together when we were in Udiku. The whole family, three of us. Our father was very, very strict on sport. Must play sport. Rugby, we played boxing, I played tennis and all these things. And he would want to have a spar out on the lawn at home. Bob would put the gloves on, come on, we'll have a spar. So I get out there and about, it's supposed to be a spar, which is just, you know, spar. But no, he starts hitting hard and I'd take the gloves off and, you go and spar yourself. There was one time I can remember, he loved rugby, like Norm Scholes. They both boxed together, represented the Navy in the boxing, and very, very sporty crew they had on the Rotorua. Another time was just prior to him joining the Navy. We were at a function, a rugby function in Taihape at the town hall. We had a big crowd there. And now Bob had a very nice singing voice. And he loved singing Irish songs, you know. So I went to the MC and said, oh, Bob Marconi over here, he'll sing, he'll give you an item. And I went back to my seat, and later on, about another 5 minutes, and he said, oh, we got another singer's offered to give us an item, Bob Marconi. Where are you, Bob? And Bob looked at me, did you tell him I was singing? And there was another opportunity. He wasn't a very happy boy. But we were a very, very close-knit family, all of us, the girls and all.
If Bob made it back home after his service in Korea, what kind of life would he be leading?
Yes, a good question. He would have married his fiancée. She was a nice girl. They were very much in love, and it was one of the love at first sight. Well, I couldn't see Bob ever working in town in a shop or office or something. No, he was an outside worker. And as I said, there had been some work to do with farm work. Anything where he could ride his horse chasing stock and cattle and sheep, and that would be his life. Yep.
Or if, well, when you think of Pop, if there's anything that you would like to tell him as his younger brother?
Matter of fact, I think of him quite frequently, especially when I'm the last one left of the family, and both him and John. But I know that Bob, I'll still endeavour to put in the paper every year the day that you were killed in action doing your duty. We will continue to do that, so you'll never be forgotten. Never. You rest in peace.